All right, here is another video on some Algebra 1 ideas, our last video on displaying data. We've talked about categorical data and quantitative data, how to display both of them. Okay, today we're talking about how you summarize quantitative data using numbers specifically. Okay, we'll talk about how you measure the center using the mean, median, and the mode, the 5-number summary, how to summarize the distribution of the data in 5 numbers, and also how to draw a box plot. Now, a box plot is another way of displaying data, but you need the 5-number summary in order to draw the box plot. So I've saved that one until now. Okay. By the end of this video, you should be able to find the mean, median, and mode when given a data set. Also be able to find the 5-number summary by hand and construct a box plot by hand. Okay, now the mean, median, and mode are things that you may be familiar with. Okay, especially the mean, which is the average of the data. You add up the numbers, divide by the number of numbers. I'm thinking you are pretty familiar with finding the average of numbers. Okay. The median is where you will put the numbers in order, usually from smallest to greatest, and then you pick the middle data value. So if there's an odd number of numbers, and the middle number becomes your median. Okay. If there's an even number of numbers, then you'll need to take the average of the 2 middle numbers, and we'll talk about that in a second. How do you do that? And then finally, the mode is the number that occurs most often. Now, me personally, I don't think that the mode is very useful when you're dealing with small data sets, because it could happen by chance that that number occurred twice and everything else occurred once, and it's not a really good indicator. But when you have large data sets and now your mode becomes this peak in the distribution, that's when the mode becomes very useful to you, because there's something important about that number if there's lots of numbers happening on and around that value. Okay, so to find the mean, median, and mode of the following data set. Okay, the mean is just the average. You add them up and divide by the number of numbers. So if I add them up, I get 275, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I divide by 12, 275 divided by 12, and I get 22.916. Okay, which, looking at the numbers, is a pretty good indicator of the middle, because it's kind of right in the middle. This is the mean. Okay, the median is the middle number. Now these are actually in reverse order, so we probably could find the median just by using this data set, and I think we will. But let me just show you on your calculator. Actually, you know what? I will do that later on in the video, of how to take a set of numbers that are not in order and put them in order. I'll do that later. Okay. Now there are 12 numbers, and if you want to use this of how to find the middle, you can. So how to find the median. Now, if there's an even set of numbers, you will average the n over 2 and n over 2 plus 1 numbers. Okay. If there's an odd set of numbers, you will take the n plus 1 over 2, that number. Okay, so in this data set, there are an even number of numbers. There are 12 numbers, and so I'm going to find the 6th and the 7th. I'm going to average those numbers. So I'll start from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6th and the 7th, these two, and I get 19. Is 21 plus 17 divided by 2 is 19. Now, instead of remembering all of this, if you want to just kind of count off like this and find the middle, you can. Either way, you find the middle 2 numbers, and then you average them. Okay, so 19 is the median, which again is probably a pretty good indicator of the center of this data, since it's kind of right in the middle. And the mode, the number that occurs most often, is 5. Okay, now I wouldn't feel comfortable saying that a good center for this data is 5, even though it occurred most often. But that's the mode. Okay, the 5-number summary. Now here it is in numerical order. The 5-number summary consists of the min, Q1, the median, Q3, and the maximum. Now, the Q stands for quartile because you're cutting up the data into quarters, so quarters of the data, using the median and Q1 and Q3 and the min, the max. Okay, the minimum is 5, and the maximum is 47. Now, the median we found in our last slide to be 19. Okay, now I'll point out the fact that this cuts the data perfectly in half because it's the middle number. And since we didn't use any of our numbers, then we didn't use any of the data points to find the median, then we will use this data to find Q1 and this data to find Q3. Okay, if by chance that our median was a value in our data set, then we wouldn't use that number when we're finding the Q1 and Q3 because it wouldn't really be in the bottom half or the top half of the data. It would be in the middle. Okay, if that doesn't make sense, we'll do another example later on that I hope will clarify that. Okay, so since 19 isn't a number in our data set, we'll use this bottom half to find Q1. Okay, now the bottom half has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 numbers, and so the median will be the average of the third and fourth, which 9 plus 11 divided by 2 is 10. So Q1 must be 10. Okay, the top half of the data also has 6 numbers, so I'll kind of average the middle two, the third and the fourth of that part, and I get 34.5. 34.5. Okay, so our 5-number summary written in set notation is 5, 10, 19, 34.5, and 47. Okay, now I think that the 5-number summary is most useful when we're actually displaying it in a box plot, and that's because perhaps I'm more of a visual person. That's easier for me to see things in the data if I see a picture of it than if I just see a string of numbers. So let's go into the box plot. I would call it a graphical representation of the 5-number summary. Okay, and I've actually drawn a box plot of this data. Okay, here's the 5-number summary that we just found. And I've drawn lines at all of those numbers and then kind of connected them in this way. And that's the box plot. Okay. Now you'll notice that in this region right here, it's pretty wide. So a fourth of the data is in this region, and so it's pretty spread out in this area. That's because we have a fourth of the data in a wide area. Now, if you look at the numbers, you'll say, well, yeah, it is kind of spread out. But I probably wouldn't notice that without looking at the picture of the box plot. Similarly, this is pretty narrow, and so these numbers must be close together. If you go back and look at your numbers, you'll say, yeah, these are pretty close together. And so you can kind of see things in the data that you wouldn't otherwise notice when you find the 5-number summary and the box plot. Okay, so this set of data, this data set is not in order. So we'll first put it in order, then find our 5-number summary by hand. Okay, so if you'll go here, let me just clear this data real quick. Now, one thing that I'll point out is that you'll never delete a list. If you highlight the list and hit delete, that list will actually be deleted completely. So I want to hit clear instead. So you always clear lists, you don't delete them. Okay, so the way you'll type this into your calculator is using the stat button, the button right here. We'll be using this button quite a bit this year, okay? And we're going to edit a list, okay? I'll type these numbers into list 1, 2, enter, 6, enter. Okay, and notice right here that we're doing list 1, and my last number is the 19th. This is the index, is the 19th number, and that number happens to be 8. Now, if you count the data set, there are 19 numbers, and so I haven't missed any of them, which is nice. Okay, now to put them in order, I will second quit, go back to the home screen, and then I will not stat, but I'll do list. So second list, I want to do something with a list, so I'll pick ops or operations, and I'm going to sort the list using sort A. Second one, whoops, yeah. Second one is list one, so I'm going to sort list A, sort list one, and it says done. So it's gone in, it's sorted that list. Hit stat, edit, and now my list is sorted. Okay, I'm gonna rewrite that down. I won't use that because it's kind of hard for me to use that. But the list is 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6, 6, 6, 7, 7, whoops, 8, 8, 9, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. I have them all. Okay. Now, there are 19 numbers in this data set. Okay, so the median, okay, since it's odd, it'll be 19 plus 1 over 2, or the 10th number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 is the first 6, is the median. Okay, 6 is the median, and since we've used the median, we won't use that number into finding the Q1 or Q3. Okay, so if I look at these values to find my Q1, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 values in there. So again, it's an odd number. 9 plus 1 over 2 is 5, and so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the fifth. This is Q1. And it's also the fifth in the upper half. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is Q3. Okay, so the 5-number summary will be the min, Q1, the median, Q3, and the max. Okay, now when drawing the box plot, you'll make sure that you create a scale. So draw a number line. I'll say 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I didn't do a very good job. Try again. Whoops. Zero, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. So I'll draw a line at 1, at 4, at 6, at 7, at 9, connect it like this, and that's my box plot, okay? Again, you'll notice that between 6 and 7, there's lots of data, and you look back at your numbers and say, yeah, 6 and 7, there is lots of data. It's pretty more spread out at the very beginning, and it is, okay? So you can look at the distribution using this 5-number summary and this box plot. I'll point out the fact that box plots are much more useful when you have even larger data sets to really summarizing the data well in 5 numbers. Okay, if you go back over this lesson, we talked about the mean, median, mode, how to say represent the center of the data. We've talked about the 5-number summary, box plots. Go ahead and summarize this data on this slide in your notes, and then try the problems associated with this lesson.